Facebook, good morning. It's Thursday morning. I'm so fired up this morning. Oh God. I have a coffee from one of those bespoke coffee shops in New York that might as well have plutonium in it. I have a green juice. I have gigantic pieces of bacon. God. This is a Q&A for my buddy Josh Donaldson, whom I've never met, that I want to start at third base in the All-Star game. Plays for the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays are my team. Blue Jays and the Kings and maybe the Raptors, and definitely not the Leafs. I'm here to support my guy. So we're doing a Q&A with a bunch of different questions mixed in. As an aside, it was really cool to get a text from my mom yesterday saying that she was watching CP24 and it just kept looping news footage of my campaign to help with Josh. Apparently Don Cherry stepped in as well. I didn't even know this. I just happened to be walking around the concourse at Citi Field hearing about how 8 Kansas City Royals were going to start in the All-Star game, which again is ridiculous, and how Josh Donaldson should be starting at third base because he should, and I decided to get behind it. Also, I enjoy social media. You may know this. Here's the thing. I'm seeing this pointed out to me by fans of various teams. If you're a fan of an American League team, like, for example, Yankees fans, like, I can't vote for Josh Donaldson. Really? I don't even know who your third baseman is, but right now, I do know that you're in first in the AL East. Probably not going to last. That's fine. You assume, though, as a Yankee fan, you're going to go to the World Series. Do you really want some dude hitting 210 for the Royals playing third base in the World Series? Or in the All-Star game when it decides home field advantage? I don't think you do. So vote for my man Josh. Dude's got 17 homers and 45 RBIs. He's batting .305. And he hasn't even been playing that well in the past couple of games. Sterling defense, mind you. Jays won 8-0 last night, by the way. I know that they've lost the previous 2 games to the Mets, but I'm getting shit from Teamsters in New York who are Mets fans, so I just figured I'd mention it. Also, apparently Eric Stonestreet has been stumping for Kansas City Royals players. I still haven't gotten over losing to him in that weird game that we played on Jimmy Kimmel, because I feel like he cheated by writing down Bush times 2, as opposed to just writing George H.W. Bush and George... If you didn't see Jimmy Kimmel, this won't make sense. I'm just going to get to the Q&A. Actual questions from actual Facebook friends, seeing them mostly for the first time. First question is from Dylan Stouffer, who wrote this question. He wrote an interesting thing about how it was like a parody on the introduction to Arrow, and he said, you know, you basically said that you're not going to be able to say anything during Q&A. And I said, if you write a question down that I can answer, I will definitely answer it. And this is his question. All I want to know, Diggle, when warned to conceal his identity, does he become the Lantern to do so? Or become Cyborg after not doing so and losing everything? Dylan, what are you doing? You had your chance. I can't answer that. William B. Hannum. Hey there, Stephen. Building on the idea that you're obviously a baseball fan, do you play fantasy baseball? If you did, what would you call your fantasy squad, and where would they be from? Well, I don't feel like your fantasy squads are from places. I don't play fantasy baseball. I just watch the Blue Jays and the Dodgers when Vin Scully is calling a game at home. And maybe the Padres, because I also enjoy Dick Enberg. The name and his ability as a broadcaster. I don't play fantasy baseball, and I probably call my fantasy baseball team the Mitch Williams 2-2 Sliders. If you're a Blue Jays fan, you get that reference. Amy Fletcher, if Josh Donaldson does make it into the All-Star game, can we expect to see you there? I don't think so. The amount of time that I have between filming Turtles and going back to season 4 of Arrow, I'll be watching, though. And you'll probably get a picture of us high-fiving at a later date. To Shauna Smith, Hi, Stephen. Welcome back to your Facebook community. I've supported the Josh Donaldson for third baseman all the way from New Zealand. My question is, for those not in a country obsessed with baseball, how do we follow the MLB All-Star ratings? It's my understanding that they put out an update sometime each Monday. I followed an MLB account called MLB underscore PR, something to that effect. You can check on my Twitter. And they put out an update. So Josh started off 1.6 million votes behind. When the update comes out Monday, if we've made inroads, I'm going to lose my mind and double down on this effort. Jessica Kimberly, if you could do a Q&A with anyone, dead or alive, and could ask only one question, who would it be, and what would your question be? Oh, God. So here's what I would do. I would do a Q&A with Chuck Klosterman, and my question would be, are you prepared to read Killing Yourself to Live, which is my favorite book. It's a semi-autobiographical story about him driving across the country, visiting all of these different places where musicians have died and thus become more famous. And I would also say, and by the way, this book was written like 11 years ago, so could you please just put in some modern anecdotes and or reflect on where you were in your life when you told these stories? And so that question and that Q&A would be roughly 4 days. And that would be perfect for me. So Chuck, if you want to do this, we'll figure out a way to record it. Liz Vidal. So when we get Josh Donaldson voted into the All-Star game, and the NL All-Star, including my Dodgers, beat NL All-Stars, including my Dodgers, beat them for home advantage for our inevitable World Series run this year, will you sport at least one Dodgers gear for a whole day? I have an LA Dodgers cap. It just happens to be black, and the logo is also black. But I mean, sure. Absolutely. The only other baseball team that I would consider sporting their gear would be the Dodgers, because I love Dodger Stadium. I have a love affair with Dodger Stadium. It might be my favorite baseball stadium. I mean, Fenway's a close second, but at no point in time am I going to go to Fenway to watch the Red Sox play the Oakland Athletics. I would go to Dodger Stadium to watch the Dodgers play anybody. So yeah, sure. Why not? Jen O'Brien, what is one thing that you can tell us about the premiere? I know it can't be a major spoiler, but something small. So this would be the Season 4 premiere of Arrow. Time has passed. Like the standard amount of time. Like we go in real time. Like we normally do. So about 5-6 months has passed since the finale. Bobby Joe Sternum. It's not about Josh Donaldson per se, but being a Toronto Blue Jays fan, I thought I'd ask you where you were when they won the World Series in 1992. I was in my basement, living at 42 Birkendale Avenue in Toronto with a giant Canadian flag wrapped around my shoulders. Because if you remember, in that World Series, the U.S. Marines had flown the Canadian flag upside down before Game 2, and then had asked to fly it again before Game 3 in Toronto, and it had created this, I don't know, sense of patriotism amongst Canadians. Also, it was the first time the Canadian team was in the World Series, and it led to a really funny moment before Game 3 of the World Series where the Mounties were holding the American flag, and they looked absolutely ridiculous. Zachary Locke. Mr. Amell, can you tell us anything about Legends of Tomorrow, the new show? Spin-off again show. Got a chance to hang out with the cast a little bit. Right before we shot that promo that you saw, and I think that the disparate pieces amongst the cast and the varying personalities are going to lead to some really compelling television. And anything that gets me closer to working with Victor Garber is a good thing. I was watching The Town the other day because I'm going to Boston, and I had forgotten that he was in it. And it's like a warm blanket anytime I see him on screen. Lexi Bolds, which character that you have played has been the most fun for you, and why? Well, I'm biased towards Casey Jones at the moment because I'm having an absolute rollicking time playing him. But this is sort of like asking me to pick between my kids. I only have one, by the way. But I can't pick. Kate Gregorash, any idea when the news about your animated project you've signed on to for your daughter will be public news? So I signed on to a movie that I've done some voice work for, and it's very exciting, as is Turtles, because I know that I'm going to be able to experience it with my mini kiddo. But no news about that yet. Nikki Sinclair, hey Stephen, as a fellow Torontonian, what changes would you make to the Blue Jays lineup? Like, there's one player on the Blue Jays that I'm not particularly fond of. But I have a decent relationship with them right now, so I'm going to abstain from answering that question. Sandra Pinto, hi Stephen, I joined your Knocking Point Wine Club, and to no surprise, due to your popularity and how delicious the wine must be, it is. I'm on the wait list. Any idea when some of us will get off the waiting list? So, we've made it super simple to sign up for a wine club, and we do lots of cool things with the wine club, like custom prints, wine every quarter, a custom comic book, probably a Funko at some point, which will be awesome. And we are expanding rapidly. So if you're on the wait list right now, I feel like the latest that you will get in will be next, or this March. I know that sounds like a long way away. It's not. It's just a couple of shipments. Thank you for signing up. Keep the faith. Where are we here? Hannah Bug. Hey, Steven. I was at San Diego Comic-Con last year and got to see all the epic DC stuff that went down. Are you going to host a panel again this year? I don't even know if I'm going to make San Diego Comic-Con. I'm in New York. It's in San Diego, and we film in Vancouver. And again, the amount of time between wrapping Turtles and starting Arrow is shrinking by the moment. So I'm going to do my very best to go. And Hannah Bug, you'll be the first to know. I promise. I don't have your number or anything, but I will do my best. Jen O'Brien, do you have the music entertainment set for the Austin Knocking Point party yet? Please say it's Brother Sal. We're working on it. We're throwing a party over the August long weekend, which is a Canadian thing. So it's the first Sunday in August. Drew and I are going to throw a Knocking Point party in Austin, Texas. We're not going to have bad music in Austin. So I hope that we can make your dreams come true. Mike Fager wants to know, did your jaw drop to the floor at any time reading the Arrow Season 4 premiere? Yes, twice. Both an act. That's too much. Twice, though. It did. And legitimately did. Like, I emailed Mark Guggenheim directly after reading I texted him right after reading the Season 4 premiere with, I think, 3 or 4 very pointed questions, which he answered. Mostly. Sarah Reese, I've always been curious, as an actor, are you ever able to watch your own show and really appreciate it as an audience member, or are you just too close to the technical aspect of it? That's a really good question. I generally watch a cut of Arrow that is before the cut that you guys will see on television. What happens is you get an assembly, a director's cut, a studio cut, a network cut, and then you get the locked cut. And even after the network cut, a lot of times there are changes made. But throughout the course of the assembly, you're missing color correction, musical score, which, oh my God, makes a giant difference. Adding music to an episode is like, wow. And visual effects. So I'm very close to the technical aspect because I tend to see it in the building phase. And I tend to be not sick of the episode, but I don't want to see it again once it actually airs. So you probably are a little bit too close to it. But I appreciate other people appreciating it, and that's almost good enough. We've got 5 more. Owen Palmer, how tired are you? Normally you get a little time off filming. Now you go straight from Arrow to TMNT, and then back to Arrow. Knocking Point coffee flowing through your veins at this point. It is early. I'm having trouble speaking. Hang on. I'm not that tired. Last year, I had a couple of movie projects that fell through at the last minute, and I ended up doing virtually nothing over the break except growing a very gross beard. And I remember getting back and shooting episode 301 of Arrow, getting into a big long day, being like, I feel like I was just here. So maybe I won't be as physically recharged going into the fourth season, but mentally and emotionally doing something different has been incredibly helpful. Spencer Ray, is it weird to see mocap suits running around and having to pretend that they're the Turtles? No, because the guys that play the Turtles just nail it. Noel, Jeremy, Pete, and Alan all embody their character in a different way. The only weird thing is that right now I'm staring directly into the camera like you would stare into somebody's eyes. When you're working with the Turtles, their eyes are actually above their head, so when you're speaking to them, you actually have to be looking up here and pretending that you're looking at them in the eyes. It's a weird thing to have to train your body to do. Very weird. Barry Allen. Really? Okay. I would really like to know who was the first member of the cast of Arrow you met on your first day on set. The first member of the cast of Arrow that I ever met was at an audition about a year before Arrow actually happened, maybe 6 months, and it was Willa Holland, and she's told this story, but I was really hungry in the audition waiting room, and my stomach was rumbling. And I knew her because I was a big fan of the OC, true story, and it was just like, "Hi, my name is Steven, and I'm really sorry for this. I can leave if you want. Like I can go outside and wait." And she was like, "No, it's okay." Apparently, it wasn't okay. Like it messed both of us up, but we ended up with Arrow. So you're welcome, Willa. Dalton Inskeep, how many Royals players do you believe should be at the All-Star game? In my opinion, 5 or 6. With two or three starting. Where are you from, Dalton? 1? 2? I don't know. I literally don't know a single player on the Rays. I just know that my man Josh is the best third baseman in the American League. At least. Sarah Meadows, if you could attend any sporting event from the past, what would it be? It would probably be Game 6 of the 1993 World Series. Although I've always felt that Game 4 of the 1993 World Series that the Blue Jays won 15-14, down 14-9 going into the top of the 8th inning when they actually let a pitcher hit because they were giving up and waiting for tomorrow, was one of the greatest underappreciated games of all time. Although this is tough for me because I went to both Kings games when they won the Cup, and the most recent one was double overtime, and it was really stressful. But the one before that was just a celebration the entire time. Congratulations to the Blackhawks, by the way. Michelle Miller, have you played baseball long? You seem so confident about your hitting potential. I played growing up. I'm athletic. I do lots of things that stimulate my core muscles. I could hit a homer, at least once. Last question. Arif Mia. Hey, Steven, will my question be on the Q&A? It's a good last question. All right. Attached to this is a link, if you're still here, by the way. Attached to this is a link to vote for my man Josh Donaldson to start third base in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. If you think this social media campaign is going to slow down or wane at any point before voting closes on July 2nd, you are sorely mistaken. Or is it mistaken? I made a lot of flubs with language in this Q&A, although not necessarily curse words. Thank you, Facebook. Vote. Apparently you can create fake email addresses and stuff like that. I would never support anything like that. I would. You should do that. Bye.